Good morning, everybody. Today we're talking about the importance of sleep and how it affects our bodies. What is sleep? Sleep is a naturally recurring state of mind and body characterized by altered consciousness. How does it affect the human body? Sleeping is essential for helping a person stay healthy. During deep sleep, your body works to repair muscles, organs, and other cells. Chemicals that strengthen your immune system start to circulate in your blood. The following are some of the many benefits of getting a good night's rest. Sleep can produce better productivity and concentration, lower the risk of gaining weight, better calorie regulation, greater athletic performance, a lower risk of heart disease, more social and emotional intelligence, and it can prevent depression. Sleep is a vital, often neglected component of every person's overall health and well-being. As well as the number of hours, sleep is also important. A sign of poor sleep quality includes waking in the middle of the night and not feeling rested after an adequate number of hours sleep. Sleep needs vary of age. Young children need around 11 to 12 hours each night. Teens need between 8.5 and 9 hours, and adults need 7 to 9 hours per night. Some things a person can do to improve sleep quality are going to bed around the same time each night, and spending more time outside and being more active during the day. So make sure you get a good night's sleep each night.
The Lord will work through us.
Good morning and happy Sabbath. We just want to welcome you to our health nugget this morning. I want to thank Joshua for giving us that video. We appreciate it. And today we have Adriel who is joining us to talk about rest and sleep. And so we're going to just talk a little bit and share some of the benefits of resting or sleeping, and then some of the shortcomings or some of the things that are not helpful when it comes to rest. So let's talk. Let's talk about what some of the health benefits are.
Okay, so some of the benefits of rest would be better productivity and concentration, lower weight gain risk, greater athletic performance, reduces stress, repairs damage, restores energy, and boosts your immune system, which a lot of these are beneficial during quarantine because like for better productivity and concentration, I know a lot of people might have like small things that they're doing during quarantine, or if you're still in school, or if you're still doing work from home, getting the proper rest does help you to concentrate better and be a lot more productive.
Right, so all of those things that you mentioned, those are things that we can obviously do. And it's not just about sleeping, right? It's about even taking a little break and taking a little rest from maybe this is in place so that we can take a break. And I know that we can be a little bit anxious about what's going on with quarantine, but many of us now are able to maybe sleep in a little bit longer because we don't have to rush and go to work. So that's probably pretty beneficial that we can just take a break from that. So what about the health complications? So you mentioned a few things that we can do to take a break from our work, but when we don't do those things, how does it? You mentioned weight gain. Does weight gain happen if we don't get good rest? What are some of the other things? Or what are some of the things that could possibly happen if we're not getting the kind of rest that we need to get?
The things vary from being very minor to major. So you have small things like getting very moody or tired or cranky or stressed easily. Then you have bigger things such as disease and obesity, depression, a lot of heart complications, like you have greater risk for heart attacks and heart disease, and then also a lack of alertness. So with weight gain, I wouldn't necessarily say, I think that's one of the factors that plays into weight gain, not getting enough rest, because then you also have your diet and so forth.
So what happens, it says their brain may say that you're awake, but if you're not getting enough rest, you're actually sleeping. So just even being aware of what's going on, when we think about driving, for example, You may think that you're getting rest, or I slept through the night, or you're not getting enough sleep. But even though we may think that we're awake, our bodies are still weighted down because of life, or because we're not getting a proper rest or proper sleep. So, and you talked about moodiness and being cranky, and that may seem kind of minor. It may seem as not as big of a deal, but those are the things that take place and make it a little bit difficult for us to operate within our families, even at work. Those things, and rest plays a big part of getting us to be functional, just general functional, when we go each and every day. I know that, let's say I remember Fritz had an operation, I think it was last year, and you think that you're rested, and you go out and the next day, and if you're not physically alert, again, you may be awake, but that body still needed a little bit more rest, and he actually got into a car accident on that day, because even though you feel awake and your eyes are open and you're moving around, but that body needs a little bit more sleep and rest. So what is the best recommended time to go to sleep? I know it's a little bit difficult now because we don't have schedules. We don't have like a set time. Many of us are used to schedules. We have an alarm that's waking us up. Some of us are not working the same way. We're not going into the office as often or at all. And so it makes it a little bit difficult. Those of us who are in school, we don't have to get up and get dressed and go through that process as much anymore. So it makes it a little bit difficult to maintain a schedule. But what is the recommended time to sleep? I know Joshua gave us some hours there, but what would you say that would be?
The recommended best time to go to sleep by is 11 p.m. And that just helps you get your full average 8 hours of sleep to still wake up at, I guess, like a reasonable time in the morning. And I guess I find if I'm up later than maybe like 1 or 2, then I really just can't sleep after that. And I guess that's just the restlessness, just being awake. So yeah, the best recommended time is 11 p.m.
Yeah, and so that's the latest, I would say, that we should, because I think that time is moved further and further, because remember when people used to eat dinner at 5 o'clock, and then, that helps us to not eat too late. So then it gets to be a little bit difficult to go to bed. If you're eating earlier, then you can go to sleep earlier, and then you can wake up a little bit earlier. But 11 o'clock, I would say, would be the latest that we would really want to go to bed, giving yourself. And we talk about having kind of a routine with sleeping. Just like we have a schedule in getting up and having to do certain things, we should also have sort of a nice, it's not just for babies, a nice bedtime routine. It helps the body to take a break, and it helps the body to kind of know what's going on and to follow that process. And then your body will just naturally, let's say you eat at a certain time, then you maybe do like a little digestive walk, and then you can, it says, maybe if you play some quiet music or study your Bible, take a shower, and then go into that rest mode, giving your body that chance to wind down. But sometimes when we all do that at times, we suffer from wanting to be on our phones late at night, having that blue light, and keeping us up, and then wondering why we have insomnia, wondering why we can't sleep, but because we're not giving ourselves and our bodies an opportunity to wind down. So we want to encourage you to do that. So let's talk about our immune system. We've been going through the 8 laws of health, and this is our 7th one. And that question is one of the main questions. What is it that rest and sleep does for our immune system?
From what I read, basically to give a quick summary, says that the immune system releases proteins called cytokines, which help promote sleep, and they're they produce a lot more once you're sleeping. So once you're awake, that process is no longer being done. Therefore, your immune system is not as strong as it could be, and therefore you're more prone to picking up on illnesses or catching illnesses. And then also when you get it, it takes a longer time for you to recover from it.
Got it.
So
Yeah, so what you're saying is we want to give our bodies an opportunity to rebuild itself. When we have any little things that we come in contact with, we don't know what those could be, any harmful particles in the air or even food items that we may eat. When we give our bodies an opportunity to rest, then the body has a chance to truly repair itself. And so that's one of the main things that we want to do, give our bodies a chance to repair itself. And if we're not getting the adequate amount of hours of sleep, or we're having restless sleep because we haven't given ourselves that routine, or we are having things that are worrying us or anything like that, that we're not going to be having, or we're worried about the next day. Those are the things that prevent us from having adequate sleep, or our, the amount or quality of sleep. People who have challenges with having a good night's rest, they're insomniacs. So that's really what we want, is to have good rest. And I want to end with the fact that God has given us a day of rest in the Sabbath. And we have that opportunity. He's shown us with the routine of a week, each week, that our bodies should have that routine of rest. And we should take advantage of that. We should take advantage of the rest that we have been given. So I want to thank you, Adriel, for coming and doing your research and just joining us this Sabbath morning and talking about rest. And I just want to run over the run over the previous weeks of our studies that we've been talking about. N for nutrition, E for exercise, W for water, S for sunlight, T for, what's the T for? Temperance, yes, thank you. T is for temperance, A for air, R for rest. And so we'll finish it off next week, and I thank you for joining us, and continue to build on all of those things that we've been talking about. Thank you, and have a blessed Sabbath.